Well, what man intends for evil, God works for good. And that's the thing that bothers me, is that you have to stand up for what freedoms we've got. They're trying to take First Amendment, Second Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
When they tell you what you can talk about and what you can't talk about. It's like down in Houston a few years back. Was it the mayor of the city or somebody down there decided they could tell the preachers what to preach on? They could limit what preachers could preach about, and that didn't work. But the fact that somebody was trying to do that kind of caused you to think a little bit, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it ends up being the people with a principle that they're willing to die for, the only ones that can truly be free, because everybody else is an opportunist waiting to happen. They're willing to trade their freedoms for security or profit or whatever it is. So.
And I'm willing to be as safe as I can be safe.
Yep.
And I don't want anybody to be sick, or to, I would hate to say business as usual and then people come down with this coronavirus and die.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to do that. But you have to trust God in something.
Yeah.
You can't just say, the government said, so I'm going to do that, because government knows best.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously there's a great divide in the government about what's best anyway.
Yeah. You should always still have the freedom to choose for yourself whether you want to go or stay home or which direction you're going to go.
I mean, I think if you have symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
you probably ought to, for everybody's sake,
Yep.
stay out, stay away from everybody. But we haven't.
Doesn't it seem like the question is, are we just going to exist and just cling to existence for existence sake, or are we gonna truly live, and are there things more precious than mere existence, like that mean that we're alive, that there is life? To be able to worship God is the fundamental aspect of the Christian's existence. So in order to have that, you have to have the freedom to assemble if you so choose, if you want to take that risk.
Well, that's the thing, and if they can make this work against religious groups, the right to assemble together, then what are they going to try toward other groups?
Mm-hmm.
So if it works with us, then what?
Yep.
I just, we have become so, and in fact, I'm probably as big as guilty as anybody. As big of what? I don't know. You provide the word. I'm probably as guilty as anybody of just following along whatever the authorities say. I've never wanted to, cause conflict or problems. I really don't. But I can't just sit back and go along with this particular thing. I've been reading, and it's really confusing to read stuff on the internet, because depending on who you're listening to, or who you're reading, or what site you go on, we're looking at polar opposite situation.
Mm-hmm.
There are people over here saying, oh, there's no problem at all. There are people over here saying we're all going to die. And so, one way or the other, I got to be doing what God put me here to do. And that's to help people any way I can. And I can't do that, sitting in my house all the time. I mean, I'm here because if anybody needs help.
So you're saying that there's
Here for help.
principles that we are to live even up to the point of death.
Well, yeah. Aren't we all doing that anyway? Yes. I mean, what's the the recovery rate for this coronavirus is 97% or something like that. 97% of the people that get it will actually recover, which is pretty good, because the recovery rate for human life is 0. We're all going to die, aren't we? We're all going to die sooner or later.
So is God still in control? That's the...
God's in control. The message that we need to convey to people is that this life is not all there is. And that's what's trying to be pounded out of us, is the understanding of who God is and what life is all about. And people want to, people in control want more control. And they'll do anything, say anything, lie or whatever in order to gain control. So it's a sad state of affairs. I was going to say something earlier about that it's an indicator of the corruption of our society that we have to even have these kind of controls put on us by the government. Because you would think when people get sick, they would isolate themselves. When people see that there's a situation, they would do the right thing. And avoid getting into those kind of messes. But people are, I don't know.
It is a two-way street. Like the more lack of common sense there is, the more lack of consideration, the more lawlessness, the more the authorities feel they need to clamp down, for the good of us all. And
well, see, that's the problem, is that we have decided that the government is our safety net.
Yep.
The government is our protector.
Provider.
The government is our provider. The government is our God, essentially, for a lot of people. And government was never intended to be that. I think if you read back, some of the founders wrote some very interesting things about that. That when the government becomes all of those things to the people, it ceases to function the way it's supposed to function.
Yep.
And that's where we are today. We've got people who are so self-centered that they think they're the center of their universe, and that whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do. And freedom is not license. Liberty is not license to just do whatever I want, because I have a responsibility to be concerned and care about the people around me.
Yep.
And I guess that's maybe the bottom line reason why I'm here doing what I do, is because I care about people around me. I care about people who have needs, who might need somebody to pray with them or somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
That's why I go down to the truck stop. That's why I do all the stuff that I do, is because that's part of my makeup. I can't not do those kinds of things. Although sometimes I think about it, moving out to the Rocky Mountains and finding an isolated valley somewhere and just becoming a hermit, and not having all of that going on. But I couldn't do that. I'd have to take my wife with me, and then I wouldn't be alone.
Yeah.
I'd still be responsible for somebody. But that's we can't. The government cannot be all of those things for us. The socialists are telling us all the things that the government ought to do to get us over the hump into the Star Trek universe, where nobody has any debt, nobody has any hunger, nobody has any problem, nobody has anything, and everything is for the common good, and everybody's okay with that. But we're never going to get there because of the heart of man.
Yes, it's never worked in any other country.
And
Every place they've tried it, it's failed.
there's an idealism And I'll tell you what I think. I think that one of these days, Christ's going to come back. He's going to establish the throne of David and reign for 1,000 years, like it says in the book of Revelation. During that 1,000 years, there are going to be people living on this earth who live in what could only be described as a utopia. Everything's provided for them. Everything is perfect. And it says at the end of that time, Satan comes out of the pit for a short period of time, and he deceives the people again. And the reason I think that story is in there, the reason that account is there of what's going to happen after 1,000 years of utopia is people are going to rebel against Jesus Christ. Even though he has given them everything they want. He has provided for all their needs. He's kept them safe for 1,000 years. And they still rebel against him because that is not the cure for the heart of man. We've seen history, 6,000 years of history recorded at least, in which man has had every opportunity to thrive and to better himself. And there have been people in my youth, there were people saying, oh man, all this technological advance and everything, one of these days man's going to just perfect everything. Our society is going to be perfected. Our world is going to be perfected. And then the Lord's going to come back and reign over it all. And it hasn't ever happened. And it's not ever going to happen. Because technology and government and all the things that we think we want are not going to satisfy the empty place in the heart of man.
No.
The empty place where God belongs. That's what the real problem is. And all of this other stuff is deception, distraction. And we need to get focused back on the main thing, on the real thing. That's where we are today. That's what's going on, and that's the big problem. I'm not sure I believe that we're gonna live long enough to see it all come together. But I'm gonna come back, I think. I'm gonna be part of it because I know the Lord. But we still have people thinking we're gonna be able to do it for ourselves and on our own. But the government can't do it. The world can't do it. All those people out there think they can control everything. They think they know best. They can't do it.
Well, does it seem to you like there's some people are trusting the government for provision and prosperity? Some people trust in business for the same. And you presuppose in that mindset that you're put on this earth to serve those things. And that they're in turn going to take care of you. But what does the Christian believe? The Christian is supposed to believe that you're put on this earth to serve God, right? And that he's the one that provides, and the prosperity, even though it's not always economic, can be, is only through him, and he blesses you when you do serve him.
Well, and that kind of brings up another aspect of this. I don't think religion is the answer either. Because for thousands of years, religion has come along trying to right the wrongs, and it has been a formula. It's the relationship we have with God through Jesus Christ and what he did at the cross that makes the difference, that changes the heart of man. Man has this capacity of deceiving himself into thinking that if he goes through the motions, that's the same as if he has done it.
Yeah.
If he has abided by the rituals and the rules. That's why I said earlier something about the Bible. The Bible is a guidebook but it's not a rule book,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't get anywhere just trying to live up to the rules that are in the Bible, because nobody can do that.
Yep.
Not the rich young ruler, not the disciples of Christ, not the priests and authorities in the Sanhedrin, the synagogue of the Old Testament. Nobody can live up to those rules.
Mm-hmm.
But we think we can make a bunch of rules today, and if people just abide by the rules. But see, it's not the breaking of the rules. Those are just symptoms. It's the heart of man. The heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it?
Yeah.
The Bible is pretty clear that we have a heart disease. We need a new heart. However you want to define it. That's just the way it goes. You can't make behavioral changes and think that that's going to fix what's wrong on the inside, because it doesn't. The behavior is the symptom. You know, all the sins that we talk about, all the stuff we see around us, those are just symptomatic of the real problem, which is the bad heart.
Mm-hmm.
A heart that is self-centered and self-conscious and egotistic and every other word you can think of like that. That's what man is. That's what we've become. And only God can make that change. We can't change it ourselves.
In closing, do you have a word of encouragement that you'd like to, just a short word of encouragement to believers out there that are maybe feeling isolated and beat down by everything going on in the world right now and having to hunker down in their homes and be isolated from the body?
Don't be distracted by all these things that are going on. The enemy is a master at deception, but he has no real power over us. We become deceived, we become distracted, we get our focus off of Jesus Christ, and we fall for what the enemy is doing. We need to refocus on the Lord, renew that relationship. Every day, we need to renew that. Every day we get up in the morning and refocus on who is Lord of our lives. And we put things in God's hands. God said in His Word, He said, don't be anxious about anything. Bring it all to me. By prayer and supplication, make your request known unto God and give Him thanks. We sometimes think we've got to help God out, and that's usually when I get in trouble, when I'm trying to help God. God wants us to be willing and ready to receive His help. He will do what He says He will do.
Amen.
In 1 Thessalonians 5 it says, faithful is He who called you, who also will do it. God called me when I was young to work for Him. And I've been telling Him for 70 years, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. And He says, that's okay. Because He's the one who will do it through me if I let Him do it. But I have to focus on Him. I have to put my attention completely on Him. He has to be the center of my being. And He's not just along to help me. It's like that old joke that says, you know, if God is your co-pilot, you need to change seats. Because He needs to be the pilot. And that's pretty much it.
and